This woman just got out these 2 boxes, and I like Harry Potter, so I knew straight away these were Harry Potter wands. So I turn around and I just have a look and I go, oh, how much are your wands? And I think she said, I'm not sure really, I've got more Harry Potter stuff in the car and I want to kind of sell it as a bundle. So I was like, oh, okay, let me look at these wands and just like have a look at what these are. So I had a quick look and I knew this is Sirius Black's wand. So these 2 wands are basically £35 brand new. Sirius's wand is quite popular, and the other wand was Fred Weasley's, which is a bit less popular, but I'm sure it would sell. So I could probably sell these for around 25. And then you can see here, she just dumps this big bag of Harry Potter clothes down on the floor and goes, have a look at them. I think she said altogether it will be about £50 if you wanted it all. I had a look in the bag, and straight away I see in here that all of these clothes pretty much have the tags on brand new, and I'm looking at the prices. Some of them are like 55 brand new, some of them are like 65, 35, and I think, wow, why is this person trying to get rid of all these clothes? But anyway, I'm looking through this bag, and as I'm doing it, there's a couple of people coming over and noticing that obviously this is some Harry Potter stuff. One guy to my left, you can't see, picked up the other wand and asked how much, and then the woman said, oh, this guy's looking at it. And then I saw some other people over my shoulder trying to see what's in this bag. And I just thought, wow, obviously there's a lot of people interested in this. I think I'm just gonna have to do it. So yeah, I guess a bit of the peer pressure from all the people sort of looking at it over my shoulder, and the fact that it had tags on kind of convinced me. So I thought, sure, let's buy it for £50. So I gave the guy the money and I walked away. So down there in that black box, you can see there's a bunch of different dinosaur toys. So a lot of them that you see at boot sales are quite hollow and light, and they're not really worth a lot. But there is one brand that is worth quite a bit. I'm not even entirely sure how you say this, but I'll put it up on screen now. Selic? I have no idea. So if you look at any dinosaur toys at the boot sale and look on the bottom of them, it will have that word printed on the bottom of them, and they'll feel pretty heavy. But honestly, some of these brand new are like 20 to 30 pound. If you see any of those dinosaurs in a box like this for like £1, it's probably worth picking up. And I spot this. So the guy literally just puts it down. It's the first stall of the day that I've walked past, and I go, oh, what's this? Now, I used to have one of these as a kid, and it's a Tracy Island Thunderbirds like play set, and this gave me so much nostalgia. And I stopped to have a quick look, and you can see here, I had all the Thunderbirds with it. It looked in pretty good condition, and the fact that it had a box swayed me very much. But at the time, I didn't really know how much they're worth. And the woman only wanted £5, and as this is literally one of the last boot sales I'm going to go to of the year, I thought, sure. And obviously since then, I've had a look online, and these are literally selling for anywhere to like £40 all the way up to 70 with the box, which is pretty crazy. Some have a couple extra little Thunderbirds, like this one has Thunderbird 5 and the pink car. So I'm going to aim to sell this for around 50, I think. So straight away, that's £5 into 50, which I think is a great start to this boot sale. The only downside of this is obviously that it's so big, it's going to be about £10 postage on top of the original price. But hey, I'm going to aim for 50 and let's see what happens. So first up, you can see these cool little Christmas glasses. We didn't pick these up, but I just thought it was worth showing. They're pretty cool. I didn't ask the price or anything. And there was this cool little Santa where you can write how many days till Christmas on each day. And there was a few different bits and pieces, and she rummaged around and picked up, I think, 3 items here. And we asked the woman how much, and she said £5 for the whole bundle. So we took that. We got a wreath, which is about £14 on Amazon, you can see here. We got some little star Christmas decorations that sort of look similar to this, that you'll see at the end of the video. They're £8 on Amazon. Now, they're not exactly the same as this. I'm going to say it was probably closer to £5 online. And we also got a big advent calendar where you sort of fill it with items that you want yourself. Now, here's a similar one online I found for £8 again, but I'm going to put this down as £5 online because it's not exactly the same. Down here you can see a bunch of board games. You know I love my board games. So I just stopped to have a quick little look. This one caught my eye because it kind of looked a bit vintage. The London Game, I'd never heard of it before. There was nothing on the back, and I opened it up and the pieces are all just a bit loose. And if it's not sealed, I'm always a little reluctant. Or if I haven't heard of the game to know actually what pieces are needed to play it, I'm always a bit reluctant to buy it. So I'd put this one down, but you never know, it could be worth something. So this next door I was walking along and I just saw here on the back table was some Xbox type game, and I asked if I could have a look because I hadn't put it on the table yet. I always try to be a bit respectful because I know people don't like it when they're literally rummaging around in their boot and people are asking how much prices are. So I always ask if I can look at something that's back there. And more often than not, people go sure because they just want to get it sold and they just give it to you to have a look. So I was obviously the first person to look at this, so I was in a good chance to make some profit. But I had a close look and it was actually Skylanders, which you see around at the boot sale tons, and I don't think there's much profit in this more than like 10 to 15 pound. And I asked the guy how much this was and he wanted 15. I thought that's probably as much as you're going to get it for it online. However, looking online, this must be some sort of special set because there were some selling for around £20, which is more or less than what I thought. But then you go a bit further along and I found some sales of this for around 32 to like 40. So maybe I should have picked this up for 15. I kind of regret it a little bit, but in the future I'm definitely going to be keeping a lookout for more of these box sets of Skylanders. I don't think the figures on their own sell for so much, but maybe because this came with the game and some exclusive figures, that's maybe why it was selling for a bit more. So there was this guy here that had all these different Santa hats, but inside there obviously was an elf on the shelf.
And he only wanted £2 for this, which I thought was a pretty good deal, so we picked this up. And how much would this elf cost online? About £8, which...
As I walked over to this store, I just saw that guy right there pick up Star Wars Battlefront on PS2. Which is interesting because I thought, oh, I just got here a second too late. That would have been quite a good little game to pick up. But I looked online and it's only selling for around £5 or £10. So I don't think I heard how much he was charging for it, but I imagine it was maybe £1. So that is a little bit of profit there, but it's a lot of work. And you can see here, he also picked up Lego Dimensions. Now that only sells for about £1 online, so I don't know if this guy was just buying it to play for himself or what. There was this really cool stall. Now he had so many Blu-rays. I don't know if he was a dealer or a collector, but he seemed like quite a nice guy. He had some old movie posters as well, which I thought was quite cool. And then you can see here he had some couple of old vintage toys. He had an old Buzz Lightyear, and he had some Star Wars toys, which I checked, and they weren't actually the old Star Wars toys. They're just the new ones that they do in the old packaging. I don't know if you guys know about that, but always check the copyright on these Star Wars figures. And above it were these crazy graded comic books. Now I found this so cool. I've never actually seen graded comic books, despite like going to Comic-Con quite often. Literally, he had like Marvel, he had Batman, he had so many different comic books, and I just found this really interesting. So you can see here I had a look in this box, and I tried to find the most expensive one he had, and this one he was selling for £135. Now I don't think this is overpriced for graded comic book. That's probably the price you would pay for it online, but I don't know who's buying this at a boot sale. Is there anyone that's bringing over £130 to just buy a comic book? I did stop and have a little chat with him, and he says he actually does sell a fair few different ones, and if there was one that I was looking for, he could probably try and source it for me. Unfortunately, I didn't even have £135 on me at this time, so I couldn't buy this Darth Maul one. So yeah, I guess there's a market for anything at the boot sales. You never know what will sell. So next up, there are a bunch of board games on this stall down here, and I straight away see a Harry Potter board game, which, you know, Harry Potter is always going to sell. And I also saw this Who Knows Where game, which looked a little bit different. This is my last boot sale. I was kind of just experimenting and buying as much as I could. I wouldn't normally buy unsealed board games just because you don't know if it's all there, but I did stop and have a quick check of these board games, and it did look like quite a mess, but just at a quick glance I thought it was all there. But since then I've checked all this, and it's actually quite annoying. This Harry Potter board game is missing one tile and the dice. I don't know how I didn't notice that the dice weren't there, but it's quite frustrating because looking online, this Harry Potter board game, if it was complete, would sell for around £20 to £30, but unfortunately because it's missing the dice, I've just listed it for £10. And the other game was this Who Knows Where game, which actually was fully complete, and I had a look online. It sells for around 15 all the way up to 25, so I think I've listed this for about £18, and altogether she wanted £2.50 for these games, so a fiver for both these games, potentially into around £30, which isn't too bad. See here, there's this little Simba Disney teddy. Now I mentioned last week that I'm not that sure about teddies, but one thing I do know is if they have this little badge right there, you can see that means that it's probably worth a bit more than £1 or so. Basically that badge shows that it's come directly from the Disney store, which obviously Disney teddies are like £30 brand new, maybe more. So it says on the exclusive Disney store products, so that means it's either come from Disneyland or one of the actual stores somewhere, and the woman only wanted £1 for it. I thought, you know what, it's definitely worth more than £1. I know that are some quite rare ones with this little badge on, so if you spot any teddies with this badge on, definitely have a look and keep an eye out for them and pick them up if you can for cheap. But this one, I guess because it's Simba, is quite common. It only sells for around £5 to £10, but hey, only cost me £1, so worth picking up. I just want to talk about Harry Potter books because you see these everywhere at boot sales, and obviously if you can find a first edition, they are worth thousands. Now I think it would be incredibly rare if you actually do find a first edition at a boot sale, because people know the value of these and they check them online before they take them. But I just find it interesting just stopping and having a look because you see them everywhere, and I just like to know like what version of what book it is. So you really only want to be looking for either the Philosopher's Stone, the Chamber of Secrets, or Prisoner of Azkaban, because those were the ones that weren't printed as much. And then when you get later on, obviously the franchise got more popular and you see first editions way more often and they're less valuable. But this is Chamber of Secrets I picked up here. And the way you tell if it's a first edition or not is you open it up and look a couple of pages in and you'll see this page. Now, at the bottom there, you'll see it has 10 to 1. That means it is a first printing of this book. But if you have a little look further up, you'll see it says this edition was first published in 2002. Chamber of Secrets was published in 1998. So this basically means it is a first edition of a 2002 reprinting of the Chamber of Secrets, which probably means it's not worth very much. So I put it back down. But I just find it interesting having a look at this, really. And you'll see here I found loads of Harry Potter books at this boot sale. Sometimes you don't see any, but for some reason there was a lot here. So you can't see here, but on this stall it actually has like the adult cover of the Harry Potter books. I just had a little look. I think this was a first edition, but because this is the Half-Blood prints a lot later on in the franchise, it doesn't really sell for much.
But if you can see the adult covers, they do sell for a little bit more than just the regular covers. So I think this was in a thing that said £5 an item, and I think the adult covers sell for around 10 to 15. There was a little bit of profit there, but I didn't pick it up. So here you can see is the Philosopher's Stone on another stall. So this is the most valuable one. If you can find a first edition of this, you will be making a lot of money. But anyway, I had a little look in at that page again, and you can see here this has 50 to 45. So this means it's the 45th printing of this book. And if you look up, it's got 1997 and there's no later copyright on it. So this actually isn't like a change of reprint or anything. This is an original Harry Potter book, but it's just the 45th inline printing of it. I've had a little look online since then. People are selling for maybe the 20th print up for around 10 to 15 pounds. So I didn't ask the price of this because I didn't actually know till I've researched now, but if it was £1, I probably could have sold it for 10 or so. And then finally, one more Chamber of Secrets I found here. Had a little look on the page. You can see here this says 60 to 55. And it does have a copyright of 2000 on there. So again, this wasn't probably worth anything. But anyway, there's just a little bit of information about first editions for you here. And if I ever find a first edition at a boot sale, I will be incredibly happy. And then she also had all these Nerf guns and a big box of bullets. I know that bullets are so expensive to buy. And I just quickly asked the price and I was interested if it was cheap enough. I thought I'd pick it up. She basically wanted £1 for the 2 guns, and then she wanted £1 for the box of bullets, which also had 2 more guns inside it. So £3 for basically 4 guns and a box of bullets. I thought, sure, let's get that. And I'll probably sell this as a big bundle for around like £15 to £20 from £3. Actually disappointed with how much this resells for. I thought it would be more. At the time I was quite happy with it, but you can see down here there is the extended edition of Lord of the Rings Return of the King sealed. I know DVDs don't resell for a massive amount now, but I thought sealed for extended Lord of the Rings, it's probably going to be like tenner at least. And she wanted £1 for this, and she also had the Fellowship, which was unsealed, but I picked them both up, so £1 each for £2. It looks like Return of the King is only, to be honest, around £5 to £10. So there is a little bit of profit there, but not nearly as much as I thought. I thought maybe it would sell for like 30 sealed, but obviously not. So I don't actually have the extended editions, and I really like these films, so I might just keep these for myself, to be honest. And obviously it's missing the 2 towers, which is the middle film, so maybe I'll see that at a boot sale one day and I'll pick that up and have the whole collection, and then maybe I could sell it for like 20 quid. But for now I thought I'm just going to keep these for myself because they're quite cool. You can see just the random stuff you do find at boot sales. I just find it really cool to just look at some things. Like, look at this, it's like an absolute giant Bulbasaur teddy from Pokemon, and you only wanted £2. It was a little bit dirty, and it probably only sells for like 5, but I was kind of tempted just to have this for myself because look at the size of it. It's quite cool. Like, you'd be paying like £15, £20 for that in the shop. And next up were these cool Pokemon books. You see Pokemon cards everywhere, but I've never seen them in books, so I pulled them out. I think it said $4.99 on the back of each book, and they looked in good condition. The woman wanted £3, and I thought, sure, let's take a risk on this. Now this was a little bit of a fail. I had a look online, and honestly people aren't selling this for more than £5, which is a little bit annoying, but I think I'm going to list it for 10, see if it gets any interest, because there wasn't really that many on eBay at the moment, so you never know. If there's a bit of demand for it for Christmas, people might pay £10 for these 8 books. I don't think that's unreasonable considering they were £5 each. So on this store is more board games. Now this is Flamme Rouge. This is a really good game if you haven't played it. I actually have this myself. Basically like the Tour de France biking game where you just race each other on your bikes. He wanted £10, which is probably as much as you're going to get for it online, to be honest, because it's already opened. I did open it up as well, and all the bits look nicely and neatly like put together, which was good, but his asking price was too much, so I put that back down. If you've watched my other videos, I've had sealed Pandemic before, and that's only gone for around £15. You can see there he also has Settlers of Catan, which again, another great game, but he wanted £10 for them both. Great buy if you just want to buy them and play them yourself, but for reselling, not the best. So next up, I found this Etch-A-Sketch just sitting right there. Now I'm confident on this. I know Etch-A-Sketches literally sell for at least £10 to £15, and most often at the boot sale, people sell them for £1. So I asked how much, and she said £1. It's in pretty good condition, so I picked that up straight away. They sell for £10 upwards, so I think I've listed mine for 13, and it's actually had quite a bit of interest. But anyway, on to the next store. I was just having a look at this store because it has some quite cool stuff. You can see like a little micro machines there. There's some comic books. It's all the sort of stuff that kind of interests me, but this guy was a dealer, so I'm assuming he'd already worked out the prices online and was probably asking for quite a lot. And on the stall just over here, this guy just laid down all these sealed board games. I got here just as he put them down, and literally within about 30 seconds, there was quite a few people here trying to get what they could. You can see on the floor that there's a Bullseye 2nd edition game, and I was a second too late. This guy just picked it up, you can see there, and he wanted £5 for it. And I thought this is probably a vintage game. That's probably quite a good purchase, but looking online, it only sells for about 10. So I guess I did avoid a little bit of a bullet there. I remember at the time thinking, oh damn, I should have bought that. And sticking with the board games, I always like to look at the vintage board games, because if you can find the good ones, they're worth quite a lot. Like Hero Quest, I don't know if any of you guys know, but that's quite a valuable board game. So this one caught my eye. I stopped to have a quick little look. You can't really see because of my bad angle, sorry. But looking at this now, it does sell for £10. And I think this was just a family store, people trying to get rid of their stuff. So if I'd asked the price, they probably maybe would have said £1. And then I went over to this store and I saw these vans and I thought, oh, they're in quite good condition. They look pretty much brand new. And I opened them up and looked inside, and you could tell straight away they were fake because of the size label. You can't see on camera here, but it was just a size label that was just like the most basic thing I'd ever seen. It was just literally the size. I was like, these are quite obviously fake. So I put those down, which was a shame. So on this store, you can see a bunch of Funko Pops. Now, I've done a video on these before. They're really not worth that much, and she wanted £5 for each, which is probably as much as you're going to sell them for online. Maybe £10, but I don't think there are any particularly rare ones there that I could see. But you never know. If any of you guys can see any of those that maybe would have worth more than £5, let me know in the comments, and I'll have to keep an eye out for those ones in the future. Now this store I thought was really cool. They were selling a bunch of like old video games. They had like PS1 games, PS2 games, had quite a few vintage ones, Wii games. But I got here quite late, so I think most of the good games had already gone. You can see there someone's buying a load. But one thing that I've noticed watching this footage back that I didn't see at the time is they've got Ghostbusters on VHS right there, which is actually really cool. You don't see that many like VHSs at the boot sale nowadays, especially like quite popular franchises like that. And I have no idea about this, but I've looked online just out of interest what this was worth, and there's some of these that are selling for like £50 to £60. Now I don't think this is the same as that. I'll put it up on screen now. In the title, people keep saying rental copy on eBay, and I have no idea. I don't think this was a rental copy, but the kind of cover does look very similar. So if any of you guys know if this was actually worth anything, put it in the comments, but I don't think it was. I didn't even ask a price. So here's another pickup I did get. This woman just put down these hiking boots right here, and now I hadn't heard of this brand, but they looked absolutely brand new. Like they look like they've never been worn, and I probably will list them as brand new. I don't know what the brand is. It might be a bit of a cheap brand, but she only wanted £3. I'm sure someone will take these for 15. So I thought, you know what, brand new like this. You know me, I cannot stay away from shoes no matter how hard I try. I always end up picking up some at the boot sale. And this I thought was just quite cool. It's like a Nerf Gun scooter. Look at this, that's crazy. It's literally got like 2 guns on the front of it, and it had like a motor which shot bullets out of it. I didn't pick it up because again it's quite awkward and bulky to post, but I just thought it was quite cool and I was a bit tempted with it. So I was just walking along here and I spot these Skechers, and Skechers actually do make quite a bit of money if they're like in good condition, but you can't really see here, but they did have like some slight marks on the back and a bit of fabric like pulling up. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave these. I have so many shoes already that I need to sell. And right there you can see there were these like pink Asics, and these are in quite good condition again, but I just thought I've got too many shoes, I need to list them, I need to stop buying shoes, so I've just moved on from these. So on this store there's just a big box of shoes, and I spotted these Nikes. Now I've sold a very similar pair of these recently, but they did take about 3 months to sell, so it took a long time, and they did only go for £20 in the end. Now these look like in okay condition, but I also thought at home I've got so many shoes already I need to list, and probably ones that will sell a lot quicker than 3 months. And then right over here was a dartboard. Now you see dartboards quite often, and this was a Dunlop one, which is quite a good make, and it had the darts with it as well. So I asked how much, he said £15, and unfortunately I think I could probably only sell it for £15 online anyway, so I didn't bother picking this up. So obviously there was no profit there, and on top of it they are quite big bulky things to post, which is a little bit awkward. But hey, it did look in pretty good condition, but it's just a shame he wanted 15 for it. And then on this next stall was another dartboard. Now I don't know how you say this make, but it's quite a well-known make, and this was a proper heavy dartboard. You knew it was good. It was quite used compared to that other one, but the woman only wanted £5. So I thought, yeah, let's take it for a £5. And you can see online this one sells for about £15 to £20, and this is the diamond edition, you can see at the bottom. But if you're at the boot sale and you do spot the blade edition anywhere, that does actually sell for £50, so that's a good one to keep an eye out. So I picked this up and I'm really tempted to keep this for myself. I just need to find a way to mount it on one of my walls without causing loads of holes. I just want to point out that quite often you see little rolls of tape like this, and if you're selling on eBay, you obviously go through so much tape when you're packing and posting off. So here he wants £3 for 6 rolls, and on Amazon you literally pay about £10 for 6 rolls. So it's just a little tip for you guys. If you're ever trying to pack stuff and want to save a bit of money, have a look out for your packaging resources at the boot sale, because people sell it so cheap, like rolls of tape, bubble wrap, boxes, all that sort of stuff. You can find at boot sales quite easily. Controller right there. And PlayStation controllers on their own can sell for like £10 to £20. So I had a quick look at this, and quite quickly I saw this was not actually a real PlayStation controller. You can see how I found this. It had a little P3 button in the middle, which was literally £6 on eBay, so I didn't buy that. So next door you can see here this Gro Clock. I've bought these before, and if you can get them for a couple quid, they literally go on eBay for like 10 to 15 pounds. But this one was quite yellowed, so I didn't bother picking it up. But right next to it were these diffusers, which caught my eye. But the fact that it only had one controller kind of put me off, and I've never bought anything like this, so I didn't really know how much I could sell it for. And looking online now, I really can't find anything for it. I imagine maybe I could have sold it for like a £5, so I'm glad I didn't pick that up. Over here, I just spotted this cool little Peppa Pig table. I didn't buy this or ask how much it was. I just thought that was pretty cool, and I know a lot of people specialize in furniture, and if I had a way to post this off or sell it on Facebook where someone could collect it, I probably would have bought it because it's quite unique, and I imagine someone would pay like 30 quid for this. So you know I like to sell shoes on this channel, and I spotted these Vans here in this weird plastic container. They looked pretty much brand new. I wasn't sure if they were actually real or not, so I opened them up, and I think they were like a size 1 or something, which just puts me off. I don't really like buying the smaller size shoes because they just take so much longer to sell. So I didn't pick these up. I think she wanted £5 as well, which you could probably sell these for maybe 15, but I just didn't pick them up. So on the next stall, I saw this little Mario Kart steering wheel. And I thought this was pretty cool. Mario stuff will normally sell quite well, so I asked her how much she wanted for it, and she wanted £20, which is pretty crazy for the boot sale. I don't think you're selling this for 20 at the boot sale. People just don't want to spend that much. But I guess she's checked online, because I literally found one for £25 that someone's selling. And she had the little DS game as well, which only sells for £5 on its own, but hey, for 20 quid at the boot sale, there's probably no profit. If she was selling it for about a tenner, I probably would have picked it up. Also, what caught my eye here was that little wooden toy Animal Farm set there. I thought that was quite cool. Wooden toys usually sell quite well, but I just had a look at it and I thought, oh, it looks like a bit of an awkward one to pack up and send. It doesn't have a box, it's got a carrier bag, so I didn't ask the price for this. So you guys know I don't really delve into clothing very much, but this caught my eye on this stall. It was a Stranger Things jumper, and it had a really nice print on it. It was kind of like 3D. You can't see so well on this footage. And since I bought that other Harry Potter clothing, I've realized how easy it is to pack up and send off clothes. I see why so many people do this as their main source of income. But the problem with me is I just don't know enough about fashion. I don't know what will sell and what won't, and I don't know what's fake. So she wanted £3.50 for this jumper, and I was kind of tempted, but again, I just didn't know if I could sell it for £5, maybe 10, maybe 15. I think I really should be experimenting with this more. Maybe I should have bought this. I kind of regret it, because I always say when you buy something and when you sell it, that's such a valuable bit of knowledge that you can then take into future sales. But if you guys know how much any of this might have sold for in the comments, let me know, because it would be so helpful for me to know. So next up, I found this sealed 3D puzzle, and I was kind of tempted with this. I think I asked him how much. He said £3. I asked if he would take 2, and he said no, so I was kind of reluctant and I put it back down. But looking online, it does sell for a tenner, so there was a little bit of profit there, but a little bit annoying looking at this boot sale. I feel like I've missed out on quite a good few little purchases here. So on this stall was another bit of a fail. I spotted Battleships, and I thought, hey, vintage board games. Considering the other day I saw that London vintage board game I didn't pick up, which was a little bit annoying, I thought, hey, let's give it a bit more of a go with this game. I saw the copyright of 1993 on the side, so I thought, hey, let's take a risk on it. She only wanted £1, so I picked it up. I did check the insides and it all looked okay. It looked like everything was there, but unfortunately with this one, it does look like it only sells for around a tenner, but I guess that's £1 into £10. I can't complain too much, but I guess because also it was quite a popular game, but I was hoping that maybe it would sell for 20, but I will take that anyway. So you know I like to look at Nerf guns, and on this stall there was a massive bag of so many different Nerf guns. And I was just having a look around for anything different, and I spotted this cool like big ammo drum, and I know the ammo drums sell on their own quite well, and then I realized it fits into this red gun here. And online, this gun is selling for about £15. But again, I didn't pick it up just because I know I've got so many Nerf guns already I need to list. But I do like to point this stuff out anyway, just in case you guys spot this Nerf gun and want to pick it up yourself. And then right next to it was this cool little custom-made Lego print, which was quite cool, but on the back it said happy birthday, so obviously loses all value there. So on this store, I saw some quite cool yellow Converse. Now these look like in really good condition, to be honest. They were just a bit dirty, like the yellow was quite dirty on it, which could have been quite difficult to clean, so I thought maybe I'm not going to pick these up, as again I've got so many shoes I need to list. But he only wanted £3, which to be honest is a really fair price for these, and if I didn't already have so many shoes I probably would have got these. On this store here you can see this giant Winnie the Pooh. I just thought that was quite cool. It's absolutely massive. I don't know how much they wanted, probably wouldn't sell for much, but it's just cool. Look how big it is.